Welcome to Feminized. It's time for a show that turns the spotlight on the powerful women shaping cannabis culture. The cannabis industry is on fire and women are sparking it up. If you like the show, please subscribe. You can also subscribe to the Feminized podcast with Liz Grow on YouTube and Instagram. The future is feminized. Today's guest is Mara Allen, the co-founder of G4 Live, presented by the Budtender Awards. So the Budtender Awards are basically the Grammys for budtenders, and G4 Live is a cannabis event unlike any other. It's happening again in Vegas this year from May 12th through the 14th, where Travis Barker and Snoop Dogg will be on the same stage for the first time ever. You can find out more information about the Budtender Awards by visiting www.budtenderawards.com. Enjoy the show. Hey, sis. You're now listening to the Feminized podcast. The Feminized Platform is to uplift the strongest women, the most powerful women, the women who are doing the most in the cannabis industry, because there aren't a lot of us. So for a long time, I've been a fan of yours from afar, just through the work that you've done with Budtender Awards and G4. I mean, these are global brands that you've built. So congrats on that, Mara. I'd love to hear how you even got to this point. Tell me about your journey.
Well, I cannot take all the credit for Budtender Awards and G4 Live, but I will say that it is produced and put on by an amazing group of women. So that is one thing that I can say. My husband, Keith, is really the visionary, but he's smart enough to know that he can have all those great ideas, but it's the women that are going to make it all happen. And he's okay with that. But he really, it was his vision. We had a media company. We had a brand come to us. They wanted to have some help with branding, social media, really getting in front of the budtenders. But we kept hearing them talk about the budtenders like they were just kind of like disposable and, and I kept thinking, we just really thought these guys are the ones that are prescribing medication to patients that walk into the dispensary. So if they're not educated and they're not uplifted and feeling good, they can prescribe something to one of their curious customers who it might not be the right fit, and they may never come back to the plant again and not want to have a relationship with it. So we need to educate them. And so that was kind of the reason that the Budtenders was born, was to uplift the budtenders, honor them, and educate them. So we do that a few different ways.
Talk to me. I love that. I love that. It's not just awarding the best and then, there's 70% of you guys out there who are, not the best or whatever, but it's bringing everyone in, every budtender. It feels like there's a place for every budtender, the best who are getting the awards, and then the ones who just started today.
Yes. And they get inspired. And by the way, every budtender gets a free ticket. So they just have to be nominated. They get a free ticket. They get to spend the weekend. And at the show, they get to enjoy food, beverages. We provide all of that so that the budtenders and all of our attendees don't have to worry about running off and trying to find expensive food in Las Vegas. They can come to our show. They can get breakfast, snack, lunch, snack. We do a coffee bar. We have happy hour. So you can really come enjoy the whole experience without running around spending a fortune, because we take care of them and you. Okay. And then on top of that, they get to enjoy all of our keynote speakers. We've got amazing speakers that come in from all areas. And they're, not just cannabis. I mean, we have business people that are speaking about business and inspiring in so many different ways.
Oh, absolutely. That was one of the things that really struck me about the conference is it was so diverse. Yeah. There were people there from, there were lawyers there. There were people who worked in HR. I mean, I had some amazing conversations with some cannabis HR specialists, and it's just, there's a place for everyone in this industry. And I think it's important that we are open and we remain open to the mainstream. I mean, it's so fun to celebrate the culture, which G4 and Budtender Awards does so well. But it doesn't make it seem like it's this exclusive, club that you have to be a part of, and you have to know what the meaning of 420 is to get in.
It really, It's open to everyone. It's very inclusive. That's kind of where our heart is in just including everyone. You know, there is a place for everyone. There are people that don't use cannabis, but they use CBD, or they're interested in the medical side of things or the medicinal uses. And, you know, that's why we bring in Oaksterdam University. They do education. So there's classes every day for the budtenders to take advantage of. And then we bring in our brands and they do brand certification. So each budtender has an opportunity to really hear from that brand, everything about that brand. And they walk away educated with a certificate. They go back to their dispensary. And if they're selling that brand, guess who's selling the most of it? Those budtenders. And if they're not selling the brand, guess who's going to come back and say, we got to carry this brand. Like, this is what's happening with this company. And here's all the highlights and here's all the benefits. And, you know, we've seen a lot come out of that. Really great relationships made because there's a place for people to gather, have a meal, talk. And it's not, you know, just somebody walking around with a bag looking for freebies. It's really, people make connections.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And man, it's just really cool that you let budtenders come free, because this, I mean, that's part of, I guess that's part of your mission and your foundation, but you certainly don't have to do that. The fact that you do is really incredible, and that you're giving them access to people in different parts of the industry. And you're actually, I don't know, if I were a budtender, I would feel like I was taking a little bit more ownership of my dispensary if I got to go to the Budtender Awards, to G4, you know, to make these connections. I would be representing my dispensary. I mean, it's bigger than just a budtender, you know?
And they are so important. Yes. And they won't be disposable. They won't be looking for another job if you uplift them, you know, and take care of them and educate them. And then they feel good about what they're doing, because it's really, it is the Wild West. It is everybody trying to kind of find their way. And my favorite part of this, and I'm so honored to actually be on your show because of where, you know, your focus is, but I love that I walk around the show and I see all the women brands, you know, women-owned brands. And I'm just like, that is so inspiring. And I will say there was a young lady who was a budtender. She was nominated in 2019. She met two other women-owned brands, was so inspired. She started her own brand. She came back as an exhibitor the next year. It gives me chills. I love her. And what's her brand called? Kush Baby. Kush Baby. I'll have to get you the little, you know, IG so we can shout her out. But
okay, definitely.
You know, Nancy Chains, we've got My Bud Faith. There's so many, it's too many to even list. Like, I could go on and on. Yeah. And I'm always fascinated when I meet all of these, you know, brand ambassadors. And at the end, I find out, oh yeah, my company's owned by a woman. Oh, this company's actually woman owned. And I'm just like, yes, queens, you have a place. You guys can shine. It's always been a man's world. Believe it. We need our men and we love our men, but it's always been like guys running the show. And it's like, no, in cannabis, I really feel like women are standing up, taking ownership and saying, hey, this is the Wild West. I do have a place here. I'm going to build my castle and I'm going to stand there and own my power. And, you know, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And you're not going to stop me, because nobody's going to stop you. Like, you just go out there and do it. Right. And you make it happen. End of story.
That's it. You are the only one who can stop you. You know, and that's the worst part about it. You know, we all have dreams, but dreams are free, baby. It takes action. It takes execution. And this industry is so just open to that. It's open to people who are not afraid to follow their dreams, I think.
And people are there to support. Like, everybody, I feel like I've never been in a place where everybody wants to I'm not everybody. Of course, you're always going to find the bad seed, but I feel like they weed themselves out. You don't even need to call them out. Like, it just happens. Yeah. So you don't even need to waste your energy on that. You just keep focusing on what you're focusing on. Right. They fall aside, but there's so many people that are there to uplift and support. And I've never seen an industry like this. I've been so blessed to be a part of this. You know, I'm a teacher by trade. We had a dental company before this, that we started, and we did so many trade shows, and that's how we learned what to do in a trade show. Don't get everybody up at 8 a.m. Nobody wants to wake up. Okay. They want to go out and have a good time the night before.
Yeah.
Right. So we start at 10.
Yeah, I love that. I'm so grateful for that. Okay.
Right?
I have to tell you, it really is. You really have catered to the, the conference attendee. I really did. I have to just go back to the breakfast and lunch and snacks and giving people a place to congregate and to break bread together. I bought a pair of fly sole shoes at lunch last time, but it was over lunch. We just had this conversation. She's like, yeah, check these out. I'm like, I need some. She's like, what size are you? She pulled them out of her backpack. But so that really, really happens. And it was just, it enhances the experience, it makes it feel like you really are a part of this industry. Speakers, they're not just on this pedestal, they are just like us. Maybe they have a few more years experience than we do. So yeah, I was just kind of blown away by that. And the food was delicious. So,
yes. Well, that's the other thing we learned in trade shows. You're there talking all day long. You're hungry. Now you've got to get your booth mate to be by themselves while you run off and go find some gross sandwich that's been in cellophane for $20 that you waited in a 2-hour line for. No, we're we need to feed people. We need to start late so they can sleep in, come down, get a good breakfast, get some coffee. And then obviously we need cocktails in the afternoon at so we're going to have some cocktails. We want everyone to be in a good space. And that's the thing. Everybody's in such a good mood. They're fed, they're rested. They're looking forward to the evening's events because we always have such great fun stuff going on in the evenings. So everybody's just has that high spirit. We close at 5 so everyone can go home and freshen up. We know because we lived it. Right. And it's we didn't want to just be that show where people are just a bag full of stuff. And then they go home, they're like, oh, what's the good stuff? And then everything ends in the trash. It's make those contacts, make those relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the most valuable thing you can pick up at the G4 Summit are the business cards. Okay. Truly. And conversations that you have over a drink or maybe over a smoke outside. Cause we had many of those too. These, the little circles outside in areas that smoking was allowed. And, cannabis people, we're going to do what we're going to do. And as
long as we're not doing it on the convention center, that's all I have to say, everybody.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah. It was a well-behaved group of people, but but
they were very chill with us. I'm not sure how the convention center is going to go. So I know they were, but that's why we have all of the consumption functions in the evening because we know people want a place. We've got the buyers ball happening. So that's a great opportunity to meet the buyers. We have our parties at the Cali Mansion. So we'll have those offsite consumption functions for everybody to enjoy. Then, of course, Snoop Dogg and Travis Barker are playing the award show. So we'll have lots of fun and dancing. And, if there's anybody out there who's a grower, Mike Tyson is giving away our very first pound for pound award to the best. So everybody needs to go on and submit for the pound to pound award. You will get a contract with Mike Tyson to grow, package, and distribute through his
Tyson
brand.
Farms.
So this is a really big opportunity and we need submissions, and it just happened a couple weeks ago. So you could be the next winner.
Oh my God, that's incredible. So are we talking Nevada licensed cultivators can enter?
I think it's California and Nevada, because I know he's licensed in California and Nevada.
Right. I'm making a note, because this is huge. This is huge. Growers need to know that this is happening. There's nothing a awesome OG grower loves more than a competition.
Right.
And to have Mike
everyone's
Tyson.
like, oh, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. And I'm like, you've got competition. You've really got it. So healthy competition is good.
This is so exciting. So what percentage of the experience, because in May, it's coming up the 12th through the 14th, it's the G4 Summit, which is this beautiful, amazing expo where you get to meet new people, learn about new products, hear keynotes, have the best time during the day, and then parties parties during the night. And then the Budtender Awards, right? So that's a separate event from the summit and the expo. What do people have to expect from the Budtender Awards? Because I've never been to that piece. I know. I followed on social though for a very long time. So I'm very excited. What do I wear?
The Grammys for Budtenders. So get out your gowns, ladies. It's going to be VIP. It's going to be name and lights. It's going to be everything that you would expect to find at an award show. We've got beautiful trophies that we give all of the Budtenders. You only need to be nominated to get a ticket, but once you're nominated, every nomination counts. So you are going to want to be telling all your friends and family to vote for you. Every vote counts. And that can be the tipping scale for you to win the big awards. And there's, we have all of our different awards. So there's different categories, whatever you feel that you resonate with. But listen, you can nominate yourself, Budtenders. Okay. It's that easy. BudtenderAwards.com. Nominate yourself, get yourself a ticket, get out there, get educated, have some fun, connect with your friends. And, it's really an opportunity for, we connected because of that. So that's a connection that we should,
no, yes, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And so many people connect because of Budtenders, right? Like what other event is happening that is just all about celebrating them and who they are and their positive impact on society? Yes. Like that is just so freaking cool. If you're a Budtender and you don't register for this, come on, like, what are you doing? You've got to, like, this is like the place to be. And so Mike Tyson's giving an award. What are some of the other special awards that'll be given out?
Well, we have, all of our, the awards that we do, the OG. There's just so many to list. Go on the site and you can just check them all out there. The highlights, I think we have Vicente Fox and the First Lady, the former president of Mexico, is going to be speaking. Actually, we're doing a women's empowerment panel. So yes, and she is going to be heading the women's empowerment panel. So Vicente will be speaking about all of the laws of Mexico, and she will be doing women's empowerment. So that is, I'm honestly, like, I get chills when I think about that, like how incredible it is that we have this opportunity to have these amazing people in our presence at our event, and everyone can take advantage and actually have time with him. So if there's somebody who wants to, I don't even know if this is public knowledge, but he is looking to do some stuff in Mexico. So you could actually have a really amazing opportunity. You can have the opportunity to meet him if you're a brand, have time with him. And there's a lot of opportunities that he's opening up that I don't want to speak about on his behalf, but I can just say, don't miss that opportunity. If you can get some time with him, this is really going to be some life-changing stuff that's going on at our event. We're really trying to uplift the growers, uplift the Budtenders, and really do what we can to, be inclusive. We know that there's a lot of other events going on, a lot of, things that we do our best to support. And we just appreciate all the support from all of our people. We really do. We genuinely, we do it for you. We do it for you guys. This is not something that we're profiting off of. It's really just something that we want to bring to the community, and everybody that we talk to has such a great time. It's like, there's no negatives. So why not keep it going and keep educating?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And we're so grateful that you guys are having a good time and you are feeling those, the positive impact that it's having, because we need people like you in the industry to keep throwing awesome events like this.
Right? Yeah.
So we can go and party and have fun. Yeah. So you guys had a dental business.
Yes.
What's your personal relationship with cannabis like, or your personal journey?
Well, I grew up in Ojai, California. So if anybody knows that, it's a very, very small town in California, southeast of Santa Barbara. It's a vortex. So all four corners of north, south, east, west all meet in Ojai. So the energy is really incredible. It's called a Shangri-La. But I was very fortunate. I moved to Ojai when I was very young. My parents divorced when I was 2, but they stayed friends. So I was very blessed that I had both of my parents in my life in a positive way. And for that matter, like all of the family, like everybody's ex-wives, ex-husbands, we all spend holidays together to this day. Like we're still that close. And it's just, that's how it is. Yes. And so I grew up in a very hippie kind of, lifestyle, but I actually, with my mom, lived in a teepee for the majority of my childhood. Yes.
Sounds like a dream in a vortex, in a Shangri-La vortex with your mom in a teepee.
On a river,
God.
Yes. So that was incredible. So needless to say, there was a lot of, plant life in my life.
Yeah.
And then my dad, he's a teacher as well. And he, he's an herbalist. He's retired teacher, but he's an herbalist. He'll actually be speaking. He just wrote a book of the native plants of Southern California, medicinal plants of Southern California. And
awesome.
So he's very interested in the medical side of cannabis, because he would love for all the other herbs to be also recognized as medicine, not just cannabis, because there's so many other medicinal uses for our herbs. And of course, pharmaceuticals want to keep that all hush hush.
Right. So
he just wrote a field guide of all of the medicinal plants and their uses. And so when I was little, he would, Dad, I have a headache or something, stomach ache. And so he would open up the drawer and it was just all full of homeopathic remedies. And then he would say, okay, what's wrong? And he would pull one out and put it in my hand. And then he would take out the pendulum and he would say, and it would spin one way if it was what I should take, and it would spin the other way if it's what I shouldn't take. And so okay, that's not it. And he would put it back and then you'd take it. And so that's how I was raised.
Wow.
Right.
And that's incredible.
Yeah. So
you must have thought he was doing magic, when you were a child.
You're a kid and you're just like, that's just normal. Right.
Yeah,
that's just normal. You don't go to the doctor unless it's like you got emergency or something. Right.
Right.
So,
right.
So that cool. was kind of, that was my upbringing as far as just being very medicinal. And so my parents, we don't like to use pharmaceuticals. So cannabis was something that was in our lives for, just because of the lifestyle that my family grew up in. And it was always something that was just, it was a medicine. And so that's kind of just how I grew up with it. And it's never, I always laugh when people are like, it's the gateway drug. And I'm like, actually, it's the keep you away from all the other drugs drug. Like, it's not a drug. It's actually, those are the drugs. This is the medicine.
Yeah. And gateway to wellness, gateway to happiness. Okay.
Exactly.
Come on. Yeah. We're too smart for this now. Exactly. But I love that you've got that holistic view though, and then cannabis is just a big, big part of it. I mean, it's one of the most magical medicinal plants that we could have. And so how did you get into the cannabis business?
Well, that literally was because, we had the dental company, 7 years, check it out. Go to Amazon if you're a flosser, or even if you're not, you will become one. They're called gum chucks. So they look like mini nunchucks, and they're called gum chucks for your gums. And you click the tip. So you have 2 reusable handles, disposable tips, click them in, you floss, and then you push the buttons and they shoot about 5 feet. So originally we designed them for kids to get kids to floss, start them early. They'll grow up with that lifelong healthy habit.
Right.
And all the adults said, well, we stole our kids' gum chuck. So we came out with an adult line. And then groundbreaking was the ortho line. So you can floss your braces in 2 minutes or less, but floss, not thread. You can actually avoid the arch wire and floss your entire mouth. So
wow.
Amazon or gumchucks.com.
Congrats. That's incredible. I mean, what a problem to solve. I mean, I've always felt so sorry with kids, my peers who have braces, because it's just you're constantly like hands in the mouth. And then the stress that you feel like, oh my God, what do I have in my braces?
And they don't want to, the threading takes 20 minutes, so they don't do it. And then they've got sore mouths and just takes, and no more floss wrap fingertips and hands in the mouth. Gross. Like you have your handles, you never even get in there. You can make the C shape, the whole thing. But I'm so excited.
No, but you know what? I love it. That's freaking awesome. And I'm going to get some because I am a flosser.
You will love them.
It's like
I promise.
Stress reliever. Okay. So Mara, sorry, go ahead. So
that's, we were like, okay, we're exhausted. We did 20 shows in 1 year. I mean, it was international, Japan, Europe, we were traveling everywhere, and our kids were being raised by my mom, and just it was, so we were like, okay, we need to just spend some time. So we kind of exited out of that, and our partners took over, and Keith started the media company. And so it was during the media company that we had that brand come to us that was a cannabis brand. And that's when it really kind of opened our eyes to the need for education, for uplifting the budtenders, and really changing that narrative of the cannabis space. It's like, it's not just a bunch of potheads. It's really business people. There's a lot of intelligent people in this community that are running the show, men, women, young, old, it doesn't matter. You can be anyone, and you can flourish in this because there is a space for you. And so we just wanted to uplift the budtenders. So we did the Budtender Awards, and we thought, well, if we're doing that, we might as well bring the brands in and give them a space. So we did the expo. And then we rebranded it because we realized it wasn't just an award show. So we really wanted to, kind of send that message. So we rebranded it to G4 Live and the Budtender Awards, or presented by Budtender Awards. So the G is for global, which we are global. And that's exciting for all of the brands that come, because you really have an opportunity to show your product to everyone,
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Yes. And then 4 is for the 4 corners of the cannabis universe, we like to say, because we really like to be inclusive.
Yes.
And then Live stands for lifestyle, innovation, value, and education. So we really want to stress that, you guys are going to come. You're going to have a great time. It's an event. It's not an expo. It really, truly is an experience. But you're also going to get educated, and you're going to walk away with a lot more value than just some free goodies that you got in your bag. You're going to walk away with knowledge that, is irreplaceable. So.
Right. Wow. Well done on the naming, because it's just a cool name, and it's one that just sounds very official, but it's just all, it's very, very well thought out. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, having been, to the event. I knew that you and Keith had, just really put your hearts and souls into it, and a lot of thought into it. So I can't wait for this year, and I can't wait for Snoop Dogg and Travis Barker. Okay. Travis Barker was so amazing last year. Oh my God.
I know. And they've never played together ever.
No.
They've never been on the same stage together. So we love to be first. We were the first cannabis event to be held on MGM property. Nice. So that was a really big win, and the first sale of CBD on MGM property. So that was a big win for us. I believe we're still in the museum at Planet 13. They have a cannabis museum, and they wanted one of our banners to put in there because we were the first ever event to be held. And that was,
that's incredible.
That was crazy, because there was an article that went out the day before that said we were giving away cannabis on the showroom floor. So they said, you're shut down. And we're like, what? God. And so, so the team met with, it was gaming. There was 15 suits that walked out the door, and and they met with them, and it was like Keith and his partner in suits, looking like professionals, not a couple of spicolis. Right. And they were like, okay, you guys are well-spoken, and let's go. And they walked the floor, and we had every box checked. And they said, well, we really, we can't say anything. You guys have really done everything you said you would do. Let's do this. And it went off without a hitch, and they invited us back again. So that was, that's a big deal for us,
Incredible.
And for the community.
Truly, it's a huge win for the community. It makes us all look better. When you can pull off a great event like that, and it's not a bunch of spicolis. I love
We want
that.
to change the narrative. We want people to realize that, it's a totally different world. Like, this is a community of educated people. It's not just a bunch of stoners like trying to, sell weed. Like, people, I visited a lab. I was blown away I've never seen a lab before. I was so fascinated. I was like, if I could stand being indoors freezing all day long, I might get a job in a lab. Like, it was so fascinating. So
your next career
doesn't know what they want to do in cannabis, and you are interested in, like the intake process, the grinding up before and the heating, and some things are baked and some things. And I was just like blown away at how much goes into creating a product that we can put out to the community that's safe.
Yes.
That doesn't have pesticides, and if it wasn't for all these amazing people behind the scenes, we wouldn't have this fabulous product at the end, that's safe.
Absolutely. Every step of the way is critical. Every step in the process is critical to get right, to deliver that safe product, stay in compliance. Lord knows that cannabis has, the highest regulations and the highest bar to clear to, get to the masses. And so, I do. I just give so much respect to those people who are working in those capacities, in the labs, in the kitchens, taking those painstaking steps, because it's science also. It's not, it's an art and a science, but it's definitely science. It's chemistry,
It's chemistry.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's another thing that the event does for its attendees is it exposes them to labs. Like, you took attendees off site to dispensaries. So you could go get your bud, or go to a dispensary for the first time and see how it works. But you take people through the whole process of the, I guess, cannabis industry within the event. That's definitely what I feel.
Yeah. Well, you're getting the message then. We're sending out the right message, because that's really what we want to do is, uplift, educate, and then have some fun, because, we all have to have some fun.
Gotta have some fun. So speaking of fun, I ask all of my guests these same 3 questions, little quick fire questions, if you will. So it's time for you, Mara Allen.
Nervous.
That's okay. It's fine. The first question is, tell me who is in your dream smoke circle. 3 people, dead or alive.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So there's, I might have one of those dreams coming true at the show. Fingers crossed, I get to meet Snoop. So that's one of my peeps.
Yes.
Bob Marley,
manifest that shit, baby. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, probably everybody says that, but that's kind of like obvious. And I grew up listening to reggae. Like, that was my jam. I lived in Costa Rica on the Caribbean coast. It was reggae all day, every day. And just like joints on the beach. Like, it was amazing.
So beautiful.
Definitely Bob Marley. And then, I don't know. I think it'd be fun to smoke with Willie Nelson. Like, he's just a old school, like, I don't know. That's kind of, those would be my people, I think.
Oh yeah. That's good. That's a great smoke circle. And since this is my fantasy game, I get to join in too. So question number 2 is, tell me about another woman in the cannabis industry who's really inspiring you right now.
Wow. There are so many that I wouldn't even know where to start, honestly. Oh gosh, there's so many women. I think I'm going to have to say, it's a young lady. She's young and she's extremely ambitious. Liz Henry, she works for Cannabis Capital. She is probably half my age, and the things she is doing are so inspiring. She has really just taken control of her life and said, you know what? I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to make some moves. And she and her boyfriend, they educated themselves. They started like a little home business. They were hired by Cannabis Capital. We met them. I met them after the show personally, but they put out the first video at our show before the show even wrapped. And it was so incredible.
Beautiful.
I was like, who are these people? Cannabis Capital. Like, this is amazing. And Sabrina was like, yeah, I gave them tickets. Like, this is incredible. We were so blown away by them.
Yes.
I ended up meeting Mark later and I was like, Mark, I love you guys. Like, I want you guys to be involved. Like, somehow we got to get you guys involved. And now they're like doing everything. But then
so all the media. So Cannabis,
well, not all of it, but the majority. Yeah, they're doing a lot of it. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just, it's quality, it's professionalism, it's everything that you want. It's quick. It's turn around. I mean, I was like I said, it was the show hadn't even wrapped, and it was like this video, and I was like, "Was that us?" And we're like, "No, that wasn't us. Like, we don't have time for that right now, right?"
Right. And I love that.
So Liz, she has, invested in herself and just has made big purchases because she knows that it might be a cost now, but this is going to make her job easier in the long run, and so she's willing to invest in herself and not wait for somebody else to invest in her. Absolutely. She's not waiting for somebody to hire her and get the dream job. She's saying, you know what? I'm going to make the dream happen. And she's coming up, and I got to give a shout out to Liz. I love her. She's a sweet young lady, and she deserves everything that's coming to her because she's working her butt off to get it.
Oh, I love that so much. I can't wait to meet her.
You will.
I cannot wait to meet her.
Oh,
yes.
She's a sweet, beautiful blonde. You won't miss her. She's always got a camera. She's always working. I mean, this girl stays so focused when all the chaos is going on. She is just focused. She's getting,
and she's a camera operator.
She does the camera. She does the editing. They do brand they do. You should see the work they do. And they're incredibly talented. Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't wait. I can't wait to meet her. It would just be great to meet, to connect for so many reasons, but knowing people who do awesome media work is a real good thing in my industry in production, like always looking for talented people to work with and collab with, Yes. Okay. Awesome. So last question is, what advice do you have for 13-year-old Mara?
Oh, 13-year-old Mara. Don't grow up so fast. You have all the time in the world. I was so just ready. I knew I wanted to be a preschool teacher. I just had my vision. And so I just was in such a rush to grow up and, make it all happen. And I wish I had just, enjoyed being a kid a little longer, because I was 13 and I was like already in high school and, just like, doing all of that. And I will say I probably had the most incredible childhood because I had all these,
sounds like it,
wonderful different opportunities and the travel and all of that at a young age. But yeah, I think that would be the one thing is just enjoy your youth. There's plenty of time. Like, you only have this little time of youth and the rest of your life to be an adult and have all of that. So tranquila.
Tranquila. Yes. Oh, I love that. That's great advice. Enjoy your youth. And, that's relevant advice even for today, because we'll never be as young as we are today, and one thing I feel like cannabis helps me with is to stay in that mindset, to stay in that place of curiosity and, low stress and, faith, right? When the pressure's on because we're adults. But Mara, I'm so grateful that you joined me today. You have such an awesome energy. And your reputation precedes you for sure. I know a lot of people listening would agree with me. And I just can't wait to party with you in Vegas next month.
Oh my God, it's going to be so great. Can't wait to give you a big hug. I can't wait to see all of my friends, all my ladies, I'm like all about the ladies.
Yes.
And I have to give a shout out to my team, Amanda, Julie, Sabrina, Lauren. I mean, too many to mention, but the women, these are my girls. Honestly, they're in Vegas right now, planning everything. I mean, they do it all. It's Keith and the ladies, and they're just out there planning it as we speak. So I'm holding down the fort, and they're, getting it all ready for you guys. So get your tickets, get your Budtenders nominated, and get ready for fun.
Yes, absolutely. Do not miss out on this event. Do not miss out on this event. You will have so much FOMO if you do, and you'll really regret it. I mean, seriously, we're talking Snoop and Travis Barker on stage for the first time together. Plus cannabis. Yeah. Plus cannabis people. Vegas. Yeah. So can't wait. Can't wait, my sister. If you'd like more, subscribe to the Feminized Podcast on YouTube. Follow at Feminized with Liz Grow on Instagram. Special thanks to our sponsors Moose Labs and Richard's Rainwater. The Feminized Podcast is a Grow House Media production, created by Liz Grow, produced by Patrick Pope and Dennis Ray, with original theme music and audio mixing by Q at Q to King Productions in New Braunfels, Texas.